So today we're going to talk about chatbot, but I just want to quickly relate this to everyone. A lot of people actually kind of do not know that you have encountered a chatbot before. Now, essentially, it sounds like something very technological and sounds like something very high tech. However, it is actually something very straightforward, and I want to help you understand what is chatbot at the get-go, and then eventually we want to lead back to our end topic today, which is to talk about how can we actually effectively generate leads and sales with a effective chatbot. So a brief introduction. My name is Jason from Chatbot Academy. Fundamentally, what we do is we help brands navigate success with Facebook advertising and digital marketing. So over the years, we have helped a lot of brands, big and small, including brands like EcoWorld, Sunway Property and all, including like, Electrolux, Epson and all that. So basically, we have worked on a lot of technological products. And fundamentally, when it comes to chatbot, right, it's really something like, a lot of people kind of have a lot of imagination about it, but fundamentally, there's a lot of misconception about it. So I want to help you break down with what really is a chatbot. So basically, chatbot is fundamentally a software that conducts online conversation. Now, when it comes to this kind of thing, a lot of people will get excited, meaning that I can have somebody, as if like it's behind the screen all the time to help me understand and help me answer questions and all that. But let me get to that. But fundamentally, it's a software, meaning that the software needs to be built on certain platforms. So the most common chatbot that we can see here is actually built on a Facebook Messenger. And of course, before that, we have a lot of different bots, such as you can build a bot on Telegram. You can also build a bot on what do we call WeChat and a few so-called messaging platforms. Fundamentally, it has to be built on the messaging platforms. So it is really a bot that actually help you converse, as in like, facilitate conversation with the audiences. But one thing that is really important, which is a bot usually requires continuous tweaking. You see, we don't have a lot of bot built because, to be frank, in the market itself, we do not have a lot of businesses that are really adopting the chatbot technology at the moment. Although they are, a lot of people just build halfway and then they drop it. Why? Because, it is kind of like too far from what they imagine. They always have this imagination that this is really like something like AI, high tech kind of thing. But, when it comes to the tweaking part, a lot of people just kind of give up with it because, really most of the time, the bot are not smart at all. Okay, meaning that it is really something that is really like conversational. Like, for example, if you have encountered any bot before, you would know that, most of the time when you come in and type in something and try to talk to the bot in a more human way, it just doesn't work. It just breaks. Even though we talk about bigger brands like, Microsoft and all that. And let's take a very simpler example over here. Let's talk about Siri. Now, Siri is kind of like a conversational AI bot in a way, but, Siri get dumps most of the time. So it's really kind of the thing. But we are not building a Siri level kind of bot, but we're building something like more like the Messenger platform kind of bot. So we don't have the resources to build something like Siri. So most of the time, the bot that you encounter are not really smart. But what about the machine learning, the AI? In fact, there was a time we were tasked to research on a bot. And in order to actually build something with the machine learning capability, the software itself will cost you tens of thousands just to buy the software itself. And then needless to say about the development part and all that. And most of the time, we do not really need a machine learning bot. It was a time where we were actually tasked by an oil and gas industry company, one of the bigger ones, to actually build a bot for internal facilitation, communication facilitation. It was kind of like, we spent a lot of time to really kind of do research and all that. And in fact, we realized even the best software in the market that promise you that, oh, I'm able to facilitate and it's kind of learn fast enough. And it still requires a lot of human intervention. It still requires a lot of time where we have to come in and tweak the thing. And even most of the bot that we build requires continuous tweaking because it's just changed. The needs and everything just change along the way. So fundamentally, I want to come back to the question why we want to build a bot. You see, a lot of companies that came to us, when they want to build a bot, they do not know why they want to build a bot. They just like the idea of having a chatbot. Then they wanted to build something. But let's break it down. There are a few reasons why you want to build a bot. First, you want to build a bot for customer service, meaning that your Messenger or your certain kind of like your WeChat or conversational platform that you're having right now is having too much conversation, and then you're not able to really facilitate the conversation in a very effective manner. Your human is just not enough to handle all these messages coming in. You need the bot to help you facilitate the customer service. And the other part is, of course, to talk about the marketing automation, which is, the main topic that a lot of people wants to talk about, meaning that, oh, when I build a bot, I'm able to really kind of like make a bot kind of like my, what do we call that? My salesperson online 24/7, and this bot is going to help me do whatever marketing, handle inquiries and all that. Do you mean that? In fact, these are really the main tools of so-called reasons why you want to build a bot. So, but when it comes to marketing automation, I want to stress on one thing, which is if you have not used so-called messenger or so-called the messaging platform to do marketing, I would say before building a bot, okay, I would strongly recommend that we start with a more human way to do all these things first, because that will, like, for example, a lot of people will say that, oh, I want to actually use the Messenger chatbot to do marketing automation, meaning that you are actually trying to use the Messenger platform to generate leads for your business. Now, before we go into the bot part, I'm just trying to give you some suggestion over here. I would suggest that you actually use the ads or whatnot to drive people to your Facebook Messenger level to start getting leads from there, because Facebook advertising is already allowing you to do a very simple automation to facilitate the conversation to generate leads. Then only you kind of like learn from all the conversations that you get, okay, and you will have a better understanding about what kind of bot that you need to build. Because if you do not have any conversation coming in, it's very difficult for even the best bot developer in the market to really gauge the need of the bot that you're trying to build. So with that in mind, you probably will build a bot that you don't need. You probably will build a bot that it doesn't really solve your problem. That's the thing that I'm trying to stress on over here. So yeah, so these are the two reasons why we want to build a bot. But fundamentally, let's take a look at about the chatbot for customer service. So basically, if you are looking at using a chatbot to do customer service, meaning that you are actually a conversation-driven business, meaning like I said, you have a lot of conversation coming in onto your bot, and you just onto your messenger or any messaging platform that you are actually using to do customer service right now. So it's kind of like really jamming you already, and you need help in terms of facilitating the conversation. Then there will be that. So it will help you ease a certain percentage of the workload, but definitely it cannot replace human 100%. Now we have we have built a bot for a very heavy conversation-driven business. Later, I will show you some examples of the bots that I have built for my clients and coaches alike. So like we built for EcoWorld. EcoWorld main group branding, as in like the EcoWorld main page bot was built by us. And to be frank, one of the main thing that they build that for is to really kind of like facilitate conversation where they want to route the messages, they want to route the inquiry to the right direction, to the right department and all that. But with that, we were only able to ease about 20 to 30% of the workload, to be frank. Most of the time, because we don't want to talk about the bot, whether they are smart or dumb. That's an angle to look at. But most of the time, humans are just lazy. So people, even though you give them the options of selecting the buttons and all that, right? People are just lazy. So eventually, there will be a lot of conversation that left half hanging. So you need to actually come in and intervene. Human intervention is still very, very important at this point of time to build a bot for customer service. So messaging to route, as in like, most of the time, if you're doing this for customer service, you're actually trying to route the messages to the right direction. Meaning that you want to route this, let's say this is a human resource issue, then bring it to human resource. If this is about the customer service issue, then you bring it to customer service, and so on and so forth. So that's how you build a bot for customer service. Now, what about bot for marketing? Now, if you want to build a bot for marketing, then eventually, it's a little bit more exciting. But fundamentally, I will still kind of cover, because today we would want to talk about how do you build a bot to actually generate leads, right? So I will give you a bit of idea in terms of the marketing side of it to help you understand how do you use a bot to build, to do marketing. Fundamentally, if you want to build a bot for marketing, you are trying to have a 24/7 online marketing personnel for you, as in like, this bot is supposed to help you okay, facilitate your marketing activities while you're asleep. You know, it's kind of like really the best marketing guy for you ever. Now, then it is really to help you smoothen the online inquiry management, as in, you know, when a lead come in, because this is really the most important thing. If you want to use chatbot for marketing, as in you want to use it for lead gen and sales, it's really important to really build one. Why? Because now when it comes to the conversational economy that we talk about right now, especially when it comes to our part of the world, which is Malaysia, for my work, because I'm now focusing 100% on my coaching and training right now, I actually work with people from all around the world, but specifically heavily on the region. So it applies the same for Malaysian market, Singapore market, Thailand market, and Philippines market, and Indonesian market alike, whereby, you know, people here likes to be responded instantly. So meaning that if you're doing lead gen using the Messenger platform and all that, people like to be responded instantly. As in, like, you know, if you let me wait for more than an hour, I probably will start looking elsewhere. So that's the thing. So yeah, if you really want to do this, if you really need this, you really want to do this, because it's really something that will help you increase conversion. Because the moment you're able to respond instantly, okay, your conversion rate can increase 30 to 50% instantly, because yeah, people like to be entertained in that way. So they respect that, you know, everybody who runs business online will have some human or non-human standing by just to reply messages and all that all the time. So that's how, you know, our region, I mean, the people from our region will actually think when they want to talk to a business online. So yes, that would really help you smoothen. And to be frank, when it comes to lead generation and sales, I always like to emphasize one thing, you see, but I mean, a lot of people, when they build a bot, they try to build a bot that is so complex that facilitates a lot of conversation. Now, that is something that I don't really encourage. Why? Because put it this way, I always like to say that whenever I teach people about Facebook ads and all that, I always tell people that, look, you are not trying to sell on the ad itself. You're not trying to sell on the messenger itself. You're trying to sell, meaning that the selling happens after the click. Okay. And if you can relate this back to your own experience, you wouldn't buy when you're talking to people on the messenger platform, as in, like, you wouldn't be convinced by the messages and all that. You will want to actually get offline, and the buying never happened on the messenger. Even though you build the buying process into the bot, okay, people will still need to go over to either your website or bang in manually to do all these purchase. So I always recommend to minimize the conversation part within the bot itself, and instead you want to take them offline to do something else. Like, for example, I built a bot for a, you know, a so-called direct marketing, as in, like, what do we call that? It's not MLM, it's direct sales marketing kind of business. So later I will show you the example as well. So what she did was, when we were starting to build a bot, she tried to pack a lot of information into the bot itself and trying to facilitate the process. But we realized that definitely, you know, of course you can do even the automation, auto send messages and all that. There will be a point where people will just drop off, because, you know, you can really sense that these are all automated messages. So what is really important really for her business, for most business like this, is really to get the contact and start talking to them offline. Because most of the time, if you need a conversational marketing like this, you're selling something that is of a higher price point, and usually you will need to talk a little bit about, you know, the product feature and all that. You need to bring them offline. So that's always the essential thing. So yeah, another thing that is really important, if you want to build a bot for marketing purposes, it has to be driven by ads. Okay, put it this way. Okay, building a bot doesn't guarantee you the traffic. Building a bot doesn't guarantee you that, look, the moment you have the bot launched, everybody will start, oh, I want to talk to this guy, man. I want to talk to this brand, and let me come and talk to them. No, nothing. It won't happen. So especially if you're trying to build a bot for marketing, you need to actually build with marketing in mind, which is you need to run ads. You need to run anything to drive this conversation to happen. So fundamentally, let me show you some bots examples. So this is EcoWorld. This is the main page. Okay, so this is a bot that do two things at the same time, doing the customer service, whereby when you come in, you know, immediately the main feature is to help you select which are the area that you're looking at. So when you go into Klang Valley, and then you are able to build these kind of like cards, we call these cards, okay, to showcase your project. So each project will have buttons that you can actually lead people to. For example, this one is to bring you to your inquiry form, and people will fill out the form and talk to you, and eventually you get a leads. And this is another one which is directly push to WhatsApp conversation. Now this is recommended because, to be frank, like I say, it has to be brought offline. And then of course you can add another button, because every card you can have 3 buttons. So the third button could be actually, helping you to get people to see the location map and stuff like that. So this is really a simpler bot. Of course, on top of this bot, when they come in immediately, which I didn't show over here because it's really to ask you if you have anything else. They will bring you to customer service and whatnot, which is a very subtle so-called touch of the bot that actually emphasize on what do we call it, customer service part. So remember, we have 2 reasons why you want to build a bot. First is for customer service. The other one is for marketing. Now, this bot does both. Okay, and then this is a bot from, this is a bot for the client that I was talking about. So Olivia sells Thermomix. So the bot that she built was really to actually kind of like facilitate based on what are the questions that you'll be getting. So when a message come in, when a person come and message Olivia on these things, so basically, what are the key areas? So this is really based on the so-called experience that we had. People will come in and ask about a product, either they ask about a product and then they ask about the pricing, or they want to book for a demo. So these are the 3 main reasons. That's why we actually construct the whole things like this. And then eventually, if you click about the products, then we will start showing you some information. And then after that, we will actually give you the option to watch video further, which really is to showcase a little bit more information about a product. So if you go for English video, we will bring them into the English video on the Facebook page. And if they click on the Chinese video, so then we bring them to the Chinese video. Now, the reason why we want to bring them to Facebook video is because we want to take advantage of the retargeting capability. Because when it comes to Facebook advertising, the beauty of Facebook advertising is you're able to retarget based on a lot of things, meaning that based on people who visit your website, based on people who watch your video, and watching video is one of the very key ones. So because the moment we know that if you watch the Chinese demo video or the Mandarin demo video, we want to be able to follow your intent. So I will talk about this a little bit when we bring back to the Facebook advertising part. Now, so this is a very simple bot that facilitates conversation. So this is a lead gen bot. She uses this bot to run a lot of ads to drive so-called leads to their part. So it helps her smoothen a little bit because when it comes to direct marketing like this, she's a very lone ranger kind of business. Although she has a team, but essentially the team is not helping her to facilitate all this. So she needs a bot to ease her workload in terms of facilitating. So it worked really well. Okay, so that's a bot. And this is another bot also. Aspen Group is another property developer, one of the leading one in the northern region anyway. So let's take a look about this bot that we built for them. Same thing, when they come in, and we will immediately allow them to choose the property. And for Aspen, I think it's very similar to the EcoWorld bot but this one, they bring them to the website. Now, it's also advisable to bring to the website because website, you have pixel installed, and then you can actually kind of like capture the visit as well for your retargeting purposes. Okay, and then of course they have the map, and then they're bringing people to the registration form. So this is really it's a lead gen, it's a marketing bot, but fundamentally, even though we talk about marketing, right, this is kind of like most of the things that you can do because you always have certain limitation. And when you want to build a bot, there are certain things that you need to adhere to. Like for example, there's a 24+1 rule if you want to build a bot on a messenger platform. Because the moment people start conversation with you, you can actually send auto reply, kind of like in a way you spam them, okay, with a lot of messages that keeps coming in, pop, and then there is a limitation. If a person come in, you can only send them these kind of auto push messages that are promotional within the first 24 hours. After that, you can't. So it's not like what you're imagining, meaning that a person come in, meaning that all the while you can actually keep spamming them. You can't, because the moment you do that, you actually risk to have your messenger, even up to your Facebook page level, banned. Okay, so that's something that you want to actually follow through. So there are certain things you can or can't do when it comes to the bot setup, and there are certain limitations. Like for example, you can only add 10 cards per selection, and each card can only have 3 buttons. That's why we are maxing out on the 3 buttons. So yeah, so basically there are 2 ways of building a bot, like Messenger for Aspen and Messenger. I mean the bot for Aspen and the bot for EcoWorld was actually built manually, meaning that we customized the bot, we built the bot, according to what it need and all that. And Olivia's bot was built using a online bot platform, which is we were using ManyChat. Now, there is no right or wrong in terms of building a bot platform, meaning that how do you want to build a bot? Meaning whether you want to choose to build your own, which is to customize it, that requires an extra cost, of course. You need to get a developer, you need to do this manually. But the beauty of it is you get to have a well-designed flow before you build it. And then, of course, the developer will be able to help you oversee what are the things that you need to give you some advice. And then we will map out a flow first before we build a bot. And then if you use a ManyChat, something like ManyChat, Chatfield, and all that, these are all free platforms you can write down. Then there will be another ball game whereby you can just use it and build and all that. But when you're building yourself, then you probably are building in the blank, as in like you're not sure whether you're doing the right thing or not. So that's the bot. Now I want to really quickly bring back to the whole reality here. To be frank, if you're talking about using lead gen as using chatbot to generate leads and sales, the fundamental here is no traffic, no leads. I mean, everybody understands this very simple rule of thumb, but there are still people who believe that when they build a bot, the rain will fall. So it doesn't work that way. Now, when it comes to talk about generate leads and sales with chatbot, how do we generate leads and sales with chatbot? Fundamentally, it's about having a bot is one thing, running ads is really the key thing over here. So let's assume, the most actively used messaging platform with a lot of good cases of a chatbot is really the Facebook Messenger platform. Now, when we want to talk about generating leads and sales with Messenger Chatbot, let's talk about Facebook Messenger Chatbot. The advantage of it is you're able to use Facebook ads to drive really meaningful traffic over. So, basically what we are able to use is really to use the Facebook and Instagram advertising to bring people to your bot so that you can actually have your dream come true, whereby you can start really generating meaningful leads and sales using the chatbot that you really spend a lot of time to build. And now, then we want to ask the question, how do we actually drive traffic the right way? Now, driving traffic the right way is really important because you want to drive traffic to take the right action, okay, from the right audience, okay, to drive the correct intent. So driving traffic with the right way is one thing, but in my opinion, driving traffic that converts is another thing. So it's really important for you to start looking into how do you actually learn how to run Facebook ads. So to spin it over a little bit today, I want to share with you a bit, which is my core over here, which is to talk to you, how do you run ads on Facebook and Instagram to drive leads and sales to the Messenger chatbot that you built just now. Now, the moment you come into Facebook advertising, you really have to look at, a lot of people have not even seen this screen before, which is really a situation that put you at risk, because this is really the right way to start advertising, but a lot of people only click on the boost button and whatnot, right? So I'm not saying that boost button is not the right button, but boost button is not the right button to drive people to your Messenger chatbot, period. Okay, so if you want to get people to talk to you on the Messenger level, you want to get people to come to talk to you on the bot that you built, you need to use the right objective. Over here, you need to use the messages objective, which is the last one under the consideration, the middle column over here. Now, and people will get excited about other objectives over here, which is the brand awareness and whatnot, conversation. Now, fundamentally, the first question that we need to ask here is that, how do Facebook categorize people into different actions over here? Now, let me break it down to you. Fundamentally, everybody uses Facebook in a different way. Now, like I use Facebook in a different way. My colleague use Facebook in a different way. Suchi use Facebook in a different way, and Kwai Kwan would use Facebook in a different way. Now, when we use Facebook in a very different way, Facebook has been tracking how we use Facebook, and fundamentally, that breaks us into different action categories. Now, fundamentally, like for example, even you're trying to target these 1,000 people, you zoom in damn laser focus to these people who likes to do certain things, who's interested, let's say, for example, you want to target people who are 25 to 34, that lives 1 kilometer radius from this area, who are kids, who has kids, in the family and all that, even though you target narrow down to 1,000 people only, these 1,000 people are broken into different categories. And then out of these 1,000, Facebook will know that, okay, there are these 500 over people who likes to like, comment, and share. And then there will be another 400 over here who likes to install apps. And, we have another group over here who likes to click on links. So how does this affect the effectiveness of advertising? So the moment you choose the wrong objective, like for example, you're trying to get people to talk to you on the Messenger level because you build a bot, right? But you click the boost button. Now, this is going to be the start of the entire wrong process over here. Why? Because the moment you choose the boost objective, Facebook will zoom into these 550 people who used to like, comment, and share. These are the people who like to like and comment and share, because the moment you boost, you're asking for a like, comment, and share. This is really something a lot of people don't understand, because choosing an objective is really choosing the action already. That's the start. Even though you zoom in, but with the wrong action, it's not gonna work. So these 500 people who used to like, comment, and share will get to see your ads more frequently, okay? And most of the budget will go into these 500 over people. And these 350 and 400 people may not see your ads as much, okay? That's how you zoom in. Now, let me break this down to you. The moment you choose the boost post button, okay, a lot of people ask me, Jason, why is boost not working? Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you shared an advertisement? Meaning that you see an ad on Facebook, you get so excited that you want to share this on your timeline. Humans don't do that anymore, as in like we normal human, as in seasoned Facebook users like us, don't do that anymore, okay? Because we know that the moment I share a post, even I comment on a post, even I like a post, which is an advertisement, I'm helping you to get extra mileage. I'm helping you to show your ad or post to my circle of friends. So most people don't do that anymore. So who are the people who like, comment, and share? I mean, no offense, basically it could be our friend who actually came all the way from his hometown and worked his, crazy head off, for 3 months, and finally got his first smartphone and connect to the world. And he thought that, wow, this is a whole new world. It looks like a very cool button. It looks like a thumbs up, right? I think that should be the button that I keep liking. So that's why you get a lot of so-called unwanted audiences. And don't blame Facebook for that, to be frank. You blame yourself for choosing the wrong objective to start with. So it's essential thing to really understand, basically come back to the objectives available. You need to know what you want to start with. So when you're actually going for a chatbot conversation, if you want to start with that, you need to go for the messages objective. Okay? Forget about brand awareness. Don't get excited about brand awareness. Forget about conversion, because that's not for you. You need to know what you need. So that's the first thing to start, because the action decides the audience. They will come in and see your advertisement. So the second important thing when it comes to running ads on Facebook, meaning that you want to drive sales and leads, to using the Facebook Messenger Chatbot, you have to realize one thing, which is, I want to quickly help you understand how Facebook ads work. You see, a lot of misconception over here. I've been doing this for 11 years now, to be frank. A lot of people, when it comes to Facebook advertising, they just got it completely wrong. Now, let me break it down. Okay. Now, when it comes to Facebook advertising, a lot of people will think this. Look, this is an ad. All right. It's a sample ad that I put up. Now, a lot of people will think that when I run an ad, when people see that ad, they will click and go over to the destination that I want them to go, and they will buy. Now, this is a very natural, simple 3-step process when it comes to running an ad. But a lot of people forget one thing, and you don't know. Facebook never told you about this. Because I'm a Facebook Blueprint certified professional, I'm certified since 2017. So every year we need to sit through the exam to stay bloody certified. So every year when I go through the exam again, I would actually get some new information about whatever Facebook and Instagram is changing and all that. So according to Facebook Blueprint data, a person need to see your ads 2 to 3 times in 7 days to realize. Now, to realize doesn't mean that they fall in love with you. Put it this way, there's no love at first sight on social media. Nobody will immediately see your first ad and this is a brand that I've been looking for my entire life. So let's, nobody will do that. So you have to imagine when you're browsing Facebook ads or Instagram ads, you're browsing it on your newsfeed. And when we are in the newsfeed, our intelligence level goes down tremendously because we don't think. When do you browse Facebook? When you are doing something else? When you're in the toilet, maybe? I don't know. So that's when you browse Facebook. So when you browse Facebook, you don't want to think. It just shuts down. So when you don't think, your subconscious kicks in, and your subconscious is really good at one thing, to reject stranger things. So an ad is a stranger thing. So the first time you see an ad, you scroll through, and then the second time you come out, you say, oh, Anand is having good lunch over here, then I like. So that's how you learn. That's how the whole thing works. So in order for an ad to capture attention, you need to show your ads at least about 2 to 3 times in a week time to realize, because the moment they see you second time, and then they will take a pause. Hey, I've seen this before. Let's stop and take a look. Then you have the opportunity to get them to click. So if they click and go over to the landing page, now let me tell you another hardcore fact. Finally, a person has seen your ads 2 to 3 times in 7 days, and finally he or she decided to click. And then once you click on the advertisement and go over, what will happen? You're on a Facebook, you're actually browsing mindlessly. The moment you click on an ad, the next thing happen is, oh, your wife texts. Oh, your boss called. What do you do first? You pick up, all right? Or you reply the texts. Now, when this happened, when was the last time you got distracted this way and you remember to come back to where you left off? No one will. I just don't remember because I'm damn busy when I'm on my phone. So that's the thing. So nobody remembers. So eventually, that's the thing. 95% of the people who have seen your ads 2 to 3 times in 7 days finally click over, they drop off. Now, what I want to highlight over here is this 95% of people who drop off, they are not interested in your business. They just forgotten. They got distracted. So my question here is, what are you doing on this 95%? So this is the key. You see, when you're running ads to drive people to start conversation with you on the Messenger level, to drive to your chatbot, to do lead gen and sales generation, you really have to capture these people, because this is what I mean by the audiences with a strong intent. But the moment you're not able to do that, you're not able to capture them. So what I want to suggest here is that I want to give you the idea of advertising with a funnel. You see, a lot of people, when they run ads, they run one ad. Now, when you run ad, you're missing the point. Why? The one ad is going to bring people to the landing page, meaning that you're going to show people 2 to 3 times and come over. But what about those 95% of people who actually click but got distracted? So that's the thing that I want to highlight to you over here. So I want to quickly introduce you to my 2-step funnel framework, which is a framework that I've been using in the past many years to really help thousands of businesses to navigate success with Facebook advertising. And then eventually, it has guided tens of millions in Facebook ad spend. So it's a framework. It's a very simple to understand framework. I just want to give you an idea over here. So fundamentally, when we use the 2-step funnel framework, we run ads, at least two ads simultaneously. Now, the first ad on the left-hand side over here is an ad to actually introduce yourself to the audiences. So we usually use a video. So eventually you either want people to click and start conversation with you or start generating a lead. Then eventually we will either capture certain actions. So we use all these actions as the audience qualifiers. Like, for example, people who watch your video up to 50%, people who submitted lead, people who taken certain action. What we do first, we actually exclude. Let's say, for example, you have seen the first ad. Okay, you have watched the video up to 50%. That's our qualifier. And then you have actually clicked on any of the buttons over there. I will not show you this ad anymore. Now, this is a very important concept that you have to realize. Why? Because this is really one of the most commonly made mistake by a lot of advertisers, which is overreach. You see, a person has seen this ad, taken action, and you keep showing them the same ad, it's not going to change their mind. Bottom line, period. Okay? So what you need to do here is that you need to learn how to not to show your ads to these people again. Why? Because that will in turn help you save money. You see, you have to realize when you're running ads on Facebook, every time it shows, you pay. Okay? So the moment you learn how to control the showing, who to show your ads to, then you learn how to save money. And then you also avoid ad fatigue. Now, ad fatigue is really the moment where I have seen this ad way too many times. Can you please kill me already? Or I kill you. So I have just hide you. The moment people hide your ad, your entire ad account is going to be affected. So you don't want that to happen. So in turn, if I know you have taken this action, I will start running the next ad to tell you again. I say, hey, you have seen this ad, you have taken this action. Why don't I show you this again, a little bit more about the information, and I will get you. You see, the second one is really to get people to send message, which is to start conversation on the messenger chat level, which we already built a bot. So that's the thing. So this is how you should actually learn how to structure your Facebook ads. So fundamentally, the two-step funnel framework is really a framework where we run 2 ads at the same time. And then one ad is to capture intent, which is already going to get you normal results. And the second ad is to help you target the conversion, which is to help you improve your overall ROI. So yeah, fundamentally, when you're able to run this two-step funnel framework in a very optimum level, you're able to save your budget waste, which is when to stop at, save your budget waste and avoid ad fatigue. So that's the first 2 things that is really important. And then the second thing is when you're able to run this, you're able to improve your overall ROI, and then you're able to do your digital branding in an entirely new way. Because imagine, now you know how to follow those people who have taken certain action, and you can show a series of messages or advertisements to nurture these people. Can you imagine the kind of impact that they will get? Can you imagine the kind of so-called, the way they remember your brand is entirely different. So yeah, so why do you advertise with a funnel? I just want to quickly give you a quick comparison between 2 ways of running ads to show you. Let's say we start with $300 a month. Dollars means your dollars, $300 a month. So most of the time, I'm telling you, how do we spend the same amount of money and get different results? Now, scenario 1 is we spend $300 on Facebook advertising to drive people to talk to us on the messenger level to chatbot so that I can generate leads. So let's say, for example, and sales, right? Okay. So $300 you spend on Facebook. Okay. And, let's take a CPM at about, $5 kind of thing. So let's say $300 is going to help you reach your audiences about 100,000 times. Okay. And then after that, out of 100,000 times of showing your ads, you will capture about 1,000 clicks. That's a normal click-through rate. So don't be shocked by this. This is really the industry standard. And most of the people can't even meet this, right? And then let's say if you get about 5% conversion rate, meaning that about 5% of people out of these 1,000 who click, 5% of them will buy. So let's say every purchase would get you about $50 per order. You get about 2,005 in revenue. Okay, now I want to show you the second scenario whereby, if you use the two-step funnel framework, we usually spend same $300, but we spend 80% of our budget to target on the first advertisement, which is to target the cold audiences. And this $240 that I spend is going to help you send my ads to my audiences about 80,000 times, and I'll get about 800 clicks. Then if I still get about 5% conversion rate, and I'll get about 40 purchases at 50 per order, I'll get about 2,000 revenue. Now, this is the thing. The $60 that we have not spent. Remember, I'm talking about both scenario. You're spending $300 to run ads. Now, scenario 1 is you use 1 ad to run all the way and you get 2,005 in revenue. Scenario 2 is you spend 300, but you only spend 240 on the first ad, and $60 is going to do you magic. Why? Because look, your $60 will be targeting those 800 people who clicked minus 80 people who converted. Now, that's about 760 people. Now, when you are able to target 760 people with $60, that's a crazy coverage for you. Why? Because if you spend this kind of money on this number of people, they will literally see you everywhere. You will become the omni-channel brand. They go Facebook, they see you. They go Messenger, they see you. They go other mobile apps to play games, they see you. They see you everywhere. So you will have that kind of impression that, wow, this guy is rich. I see this ad everywhere. So you just imagine if you're able to create this kind of impact among these audiences with such a small but amount of money. Let's say we just convert another 10% of these 760 people. I don't think it's too much to ask. That's another 76 orders, and that's another $3,800 in revenue. So let's take back at these 2 scenarios again. Okay, 2005 is the scenario 1. I mean, that's the revenue that you get. But scenario 2, when you're able to actually build this, you're actually able to get up to 5,800. This is the best case scenario, of course. But we have done this many times. We have worked with a lot of clients and coaches and students alike. They have seen even better conversion than this. Okay, so this is completely possible. So I want to quickly give you an idea about a two-step funnel framework. How do you design the ads funnel? So you can write down, first thing first, you run 2 ads simultaneously. Okay, and then the first ad is usually a video. We do video, why? Because video is really the easiest way to capture intent without even needing them to click. But of course, click is being captured and all that. But we want to use the video view as a very important qualifier to push people out from the first ad. So that's a very important thing. First ad, we're going to use video. And then when you want to use video, try to control it within 15 seconds, 1-5. Okay, the moment one, why we want to do it 15 seconds, because that's really kind of like the optimum that you can really show your ads on all platforms. And then on top of that, you want to try to use a square dimension like this. Why? Because a square ad takes up more market, so-called real estate. I would say it takes up more space on the normal phone screen, and it gives you a little bit more exposure over here. Okay, so a bit rule of thumb, use video, 15-second video. And then of course you need to actually try to use a square one. But of course, there are other things you need to learn how to choose the right objective and whatnot. So these are the few things, right? So, and then the second ad is a little bit open. It's free form, but fundamentally the first ad, you need to write in a very short way to tell people what you want them to do. That's really the most important thing, right? Then the second ad is really to help you nurture your audiences. So when it comes to nurturing, you can have a more open way of designing your second ad. You can actually do a longer form video, I'm fine. Longer copywriting, I'm fine, because essentially you'll be zooming into the people who have taken certain action. So that's the thing. So yeah, so this is how you design a two-step funnel framework in terms of advertising. Okay, so fundamentally, yeah, so that's the first ad, just to show a little bit about, video, and, I'm using carousel for the second ad. If you're trying to highlight certain key features and all that, so that's how you do the 2 ads system over here. Okay, so just to quickly wrap up, what have you learned so far? I'm within my time at the moment. So a few things. First, what is a chatbot? Okay, I have shared with you what is a chatbot, what does it look like, what it does, and why you should build one. And remember, I've given you a few suggestions when you wish to build a bot. There are a few things I would suggest that you need to come back to the platform and first learn the habit. And second thing is try to drive some conversation there first, so that you will learn, you will know what are the questions that will come to you. And then from there, you'll have a better idea on the direction of the bot that you want to build. Don't come and build a bot without even knowing what kind of conversation that you're potentially receiving. So that's really the most important thing. And then you need to understand why you want to build a bot. Either is it for customer service or you want to do it for marketing, and eventually that will decide the structure of the bot as well. Okay, and then you need to choose whether you want to build it on your own using the the platforms available like ManyChat, Chatfield, or you want to build with a customized option. So yeah, and then after that, we also talk about when you want to build a bot. When you build a bot, the traffic don't just come right away. Nobody will just flock to you just because you have launched a bot, right? I've seen that somebody built a bot and then they launch a bot with ads, meaning that press ad in order to tell people that I have launched a bot. I mean, okay, why do I care? So yeah, don't, please. You want to build a bot, if you want to run ads ever, please save the press ad money, and bring it over to Facebook and drive real conversation from the people who care. All right. So how do you generate leads and sales with bot? Which is you have to learn how to use Facebook ads, and you need to learn how to drive meaningful traffic with Facebook ads, and you need to learn how to build a Facebook ads that follows the intent. So I've shared with you that fundamentally a person needs to see your ads about 2 to 3 times to realize, and then after that I will click. However, 95% of the people who click drop off, not because they're not interested, but because they are distracted. So it's really our job, as a marketer, to bring these people back again, to tell them that, hey, you left off. So let's take a look about how we can actually help you over here. So that's how you should actually run your ads in a very meaningful way. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I have for now. So what's next? If you want to find out more, I would suggest that you follow my YouTube, you subscribe to my YouTube channel, because this is where I share daily tips, literally daily, about Facebook advertising. And then if you want to find out more about my company, you can actually go to chatbotacademy.com. So this is really where you can actually go and find out more about me. But yeah, I think that's about it on my end. Thank you so much for your attention.